Hello YouTube newsletter subscribers, this is Terrell from Terrell03.com. Today is June 8th, 2017. This is the Black Star Update Report connected to Volume 23 of Terrell's 2017 newsletter. Seismic and volcanic indicators say Earth has moved into the first Earth change lull period of the 2017 Earth orbit cycle relative to the Black Star position in the Libra constellation between Jupiter and Saturn relative to the Sun and near Mars orbit path. Year-over-year values, you see we dropped down to sub 200 already for the 2.54 magnitude earthquakes. We saw a bounce in slightly higher values for the 6 and the 5 magnitude earthquakes from what we saw last year. But this is still 25. It's going to be below the yearly average, the year-over-year average. Going down to the bottom of the chart, you're going to notice a lot more red values. We've now gone, I believe this is 17 or 18 weeks in a row without a 7 magnitude earthquake. And we went 17 weeks without more than 2 of the 6 magnitude earthquakes over in the 6th column. Now this is bouncing around to be about normal. Still not seeing a 7 all the way back since the last cycle is very unusual. Historically, we get a 7 magnitude earthquake every 20 days. We have not seen one now in all these weeks, changing all these values. And this could easily go to 20 weeks without seeing a 7 magnitude earthquake on the planet. Then, looking at the weekly values, we saw a little bounce in the 5s and the 6s, but they were so low they had to bounce up. Just 0 and 20. That 20 is our value. We're looking for sub 20 values in their outside orbit position. It's rare to get a sub 20 value, as you can see looking up the 5 magnitude chart. But that's where we're headed. We're going to probably have 2 weeks in a row in the nearing August. In the month of August, we're going to see sub 20 values here, and we're going to probably see a pair of sub 200 values here. At week 16, we're still very close to the near side alignment, and to reach down to 200 already, that's kind of rare. That's going to be kind of rare too. It doesn't happen very often. Then new volcanic eruptions. Then focus on magma plume arm number 1. Show you where that is. Earthquake 3D. Right here. Magma plume arm number 1. Need to go over this way. And something that's returned to the scene, we have about a half dozen of these earthquakes events that are taking place right here along magma plume arm number 1 and in the origination zone that are inside of Earth mantle transition zone. See the depths there? When we were right at the alignment, we were only having 1 and 2. That's kind of mysterious. But because these higher magnitude earthquakes, I believe, are being triggered by the deep magma plume activity. Moving through the lull period, that's why we're seeing a slight bounce in the 6s and in the 5s. But the trigger mechanism is going to be inside the Earth, pushing upward. So we're not getting the precursor quakes, like with the regular strike type fault earthquake events. And this is part of the changing tectonic / volcanism dynamic taking place around the planet. Definitely seeing lower earthquake values, seeing none of the larger magnitude earthquake values. And this is our watch area up in here. This is magma plume arm number 1, where we have most of the new volcanic eruption activity right here. The only exception is right on the Chile-Argentina border. And that's going to be associated with magma plume arm number 2 activity. And that's the magma plume arm that extends from Indonesia across towards Chile and then reaches up. Terminal end appears to be right in this area right here, where you're seeing these 4 magnitude earthquakes. That appears to be where the terminal end is, and it should begin to retreat. Now that we're in the lull period, it should be retreating back south. And similar situation up here in the north. This is our watch area, and silence and Cascadia. and at least in this section between the growing California quake swarm area and this Alaska quake swarm area here. This is where we expect to see a linchpin quake event, 5.9 magnitude likely, and then that'll start a new quake swarm area here in Cascadia. That has not happened yet, and I do not expect it to happen until we at near the peak of one of these coming uptick periods. It's kind of what I'm expecting. Magma plume arm number 3 activity diminished. It looks like that this terminal end is retreating all the way back into the Middle East. We're seeing nothing in Europe, Southern Europe, nothing at the Rock of Gibraltar, and just one quake event, 5.1 along the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. So it's kind of a lackluster report. We likely don't need a short report. The long report's going to be a short report this week. Just really not a lot to report, and that's the way it works. Moving through the summer, as the summer months have been our lull period for years now, and less activity, less seismic activity, and less interest in the Project Black Star investigation in general. So let's get back over here to the report. And magnetic North Pole migration chart is trying to reveal a new pattern. And when we get over into this area, we're going to have our 12-degree differential. You can kind of see it if you look carefully, where we've been lagging behind the previous year's position by that 12 degrees. That starts right down in here and moves all the way up. I'm real curious to see, moving forward, if what we have here is about an average of a 2-degree differential for the last 3 years, right here. You see these dates line up. Now so we're ahead of schedule. We're ahead of our previous year's position by 2 degrees, and what that means, don't know exactly for sure. Don't know what that means. Well, we're going to continue to watch this as the pattern continues to see if this continues to race ahead of its previous year's position, or if it's going to begin lagging behind again at that, creating a 377-day cycle. Right now we have a 363-day cycle that's supposed to take the Chandler wobble 433 days to make one loop. And right now we're looking at about 363 at this section of the chart right here. We're going to continue watching. We'll see if a new pattern develops as we're moving. Outside orbit position is going to be just about in this area right here when we get to the end of August. So I'm very interested to see how this pattern shapes out. Notice we're following the 2015 course pretty closely, and if you can see through all of my lines here, we've dropped below this point. We've been on the inside track, inside of that 2015 track up in this area. Then we're bobbing. Now we're beginning to bob on the outside of it. Curious how this line is going to shape up as it's coming around. Then we have a convergence point right over here near our leading up to our backside alignment quake event, where you see all these lines crossing on the backside. The migration pattern has been moving this way, which is north, over on this side, towards Siberia, but now we're seeing this actually backtracking a little bit. The average location is moving closer to the center of axis right here, where the magnetic North Pole's been cycling around. So what does this mean? Don't know. We're going to watch for a new pattern to be established up there. Then the highlight survival group project is coming from Linda's New Mexico/Texas group, and in the South Central United States. Lots of opportunities for whenever these survival group programs are kicking off. They need investment. People that have resources can come in, and you can find yourself in a key position in these survival group programs. So Linda is writing me more regularly than anybody else of the 6 options that you have at terralo3.com. So when you go to my website, then the center link, you'll see 3 PayPal buttons there. The center one is for the survival group program. When you sign up there, then you receive a notification email from me, and it's for a 1-year newsletter subscription and for a 1-year survival group subscription. That's for $45 per year at terralo3.com. Then you're going to receive, upon request, when you're ready, the threat assessment information for those living in the United States. And this is obviously for people living in the United States, this option. And then you write, once you go through the orientation, you send me permission to share your contact information, just your first name and one email address. And then you're going to be introduced to more than 200 families already working in the program. And then, after my introduction, you're going to be introduced to the group. And then you will receive the survival group notification email. That's going to have the contact information of all the survival group members and a listing of your 6 options. There's a primary option, buying 400 acres in Arkansas, very near where I lived in Arkansas for 2011-2013. And 5 of the 6 programs are in the Ozarks, and this New Mexico, Texas group is the most recent addition. And lots of opportunities right there. Now is a perfect time to go to terralo3.com and subscribe to the survival group program. And so you can devise your best survival strategy possible using the information that you receive. Project supporters for this week include John, David, George, and Michael. They went to terralo3.com. Some subscribed to the newsletter only program. That's $25 per year. And some to the survival group program. So that's where you receive your benefits by going to terralo3.com. Then Catherine, James, and Vaubear. She's the general manager at Revolution Radio. Really love Vaubear. She was the lady that was my sponsor for a year for my Bible radio show programs. Very, very nice lady. Love her to death. And then there were no donations this week. And let's see. The publisher has returned the Mystery Explained to me for more editing. I've been pecking away at changing quotation marks and all kinds of things. This process is likely going to take me another week. It's been consuming a good deal of my time, but it couldn't come at a better time during moving to the lull period. Anyway, remember, you can pre-order your autographed copy of The Mystery Explained by donating $50 or more at terralo3.com. That includes the shipping to your mailing address. Be sure to include your mailing address whenever you make that $50 donation or more at terralo3.com. And many thanks to everybody for supporting the research. You guys are the ones making the investigation in the survival group program possible. Then lots of good featured articles this week, despite the what the science says that Margaret sent in. This is a little complicated to be able to explain, and she believes that Earth core she believes that it's plasma. It's going to have plasma-like characteristics, is what this is going to boil down to. Lengthy explanation. You go through some of the basics here, and then you introduce the mystery blob, the rising magma plume formations that's changing the tectonic dynamic around the planet. And like I said, lots of information in here, and tracking data going back 2004, and making drawing comparisons, correlations. Then Dr. Carlos Fernanda, he's a really smart guy, astronomer, and his version of the black star, his object, he was tracking a comet-like body because it had a comet-like orbit path. And according to him, I did some research on him, then his object has only 3 velocities, and I guess fast, medium, and slow. And the black star, from what we can tell, is slowing inbound orbital velocity based upon how close it gets to the sun. So as it gets closer, it moves slower. It's moving more slowly left in the orbit diagram, and that's what we have determined through the data we've gathered through this orbit cycle so far. So if we look at solar system scope, right here, you can see where we are in the solar system. The black star is between the sun and the Libra constellation, so it's behind us in orbit. We've already passed it. We passed it on May the 9th with the large 6 magnitude earthquake. That's the Vanuatu event from May the 9th. Jupiter, the key role player here in solar system harmonics, it is closing in on the black star position, moving 30 degrees left in the orbit diagram, shrinking the magnetic portal connection between the black star and Jupiter. Black star hovering around Mars orbit path, so it's moving rapidly this way relative to the black star. Black star apparently only moved 3 or 4 degrees left in the orbit diagram for the entire year. Jupiter moving 30 means it's closing in. Earth goes 360 in 1 year. So we are right now orbiting away from the black star. the magnetic portal connection between the black star and the Earth is going to grow, moving through the summer until we get to this outside orbit position. That's going to come in the last week of August. That's when we'll see our sub 20 values in the chart for the 5 magnitude earthquakes and the sub 200 values for the 2.5 to 4 magnitude earthquakes. So that's where we... Oh, I also wanted to show you, when you go out at night and you look, you just kind of, if you're in the northern hemisphere like I am, then you're going to kind of face south. You're going to find the ecliptic by finding Jupiter, which is in the Virgo constellation. This is looking from Tampa, Florida. It's pretty far south for a lot of people in the United States, so maybe just a little bit different for you, because you're going to be in a different position. Because guess what? The Earth is really round, really is. And so you're going to find Jupiter over in the Virgo constellation, and you're going to find the Moon just above the plane here. Ecliptic plane's right here, and then you're going to find Saturn to the left of the Moon. The black star on May the 9th would have been relative from our position between the Sun. We were right between the Sun and the Libra constellation, where the black star is positioned, just below the plane here, on about a month ago. So what that means is, as the Earth moves around this way, the black star, if we could see it, would appear to be backtracking. It's backtracking into the feet of Virgo. So, if you go out at night and you look, find Jupiter, find the Moon, and the Moon is closing in on Saturn. The black star is going to be positioned just about between Jupiter and the Moon when you go out to look tonight, just below the ecliptic plane. So if you can find the feet of Virgo, then that's just about where the black star is. It's going to continue migrating in this direction towards Jupiter until the last week of August. So it'll be it's relative to Earth, doesn't quite come into alignment. I already did the check, did the math, the alignment with Jupiter. There is no straight line alignment in this cycle. Somebody asked, and I had to do the research on that and determine that there is not going to be one on this cycle. Then here's a survivor-related article from Clint that is shared right up here in the featured section, newsletter. And then we go back and forth with a series of emails. And seismic activity update, June the 5th. And Bonnie sent in some information from Frank Hagerbeets over in Europe. Real sharp guy. He focuses on planetary alignments. We had a little bit of back and forth on YouTube in the comments section, and we agree on a lot of things, and we disagree on some things. And my view, planetary alignment analysis is having less and less importance. The reason is because the magma plume formation on the Earth. Trigger mechanisms are now deep down inside the Earth. Rising magma plume activity, that is trumping solar system harmonics, particularly when we're moving away from the black star. So having a 7 magnitude earthquake historically about every 20 days, now and that's where we're having some disagreement. He made the statement that it's not unusual for this to happen, but now we've gone, looks like we're going to go 20 weeks instead of 20 days. And that, without having a 7 magnitude earthquake event on the planet, that's just not normal. And so low seismicity, Jupiter's going to be the culprit in that. And I'll explain that to you guys over and over again. Then lots of good articles in here this week. Bended Reality, Stargazer sends in his information. And like I was saying, no need for a short report this week. There's moving through the low period. That's pretty much the way that it works. You have some Yellowstone reports, and you can see the volcanism where we have continuous activity, ongoing activity, I should say, and then the new volcanic eruptions over here. Explain that to you above. And lots of information down in the something I didn't report last week. There's a jump in the number of people being killed by lightning strikes around the planet right now. It appears that this is going to be black star related, superstorms, the changing environment, ocean conveyor disruption, jet stream fluctuations that creates these environmental conditions conducive to big lightning. And it's happening more and more. And we'll check at the end of the year, but this could be like a record year for the number of people that are killed by lightning around the planet. That's a symptom that the black star, if you look at last week's newsletter, I didn't even comment on it. New, when he sent this in, made the comment about all the lightning strikes, and I didn't even make a comment on it, but it's continuing. It's a continuing phenomenon that's continuing to happen. And there's sprite formation taking place over Europe. And what's unusual here is I don't see a thunderstorm around. I'm not seeing the thunderstorm that should be producing this. It's Earth trying to maintain equilibrium, the balance of charges in the atmosphere. Mars has many faces. You want to check this out down in the solar system section. And this is a little disturbing. Canada passes bill to let government remove kids from Christian homes. That's you need to check that out. Hopefully that doesn't spread here down south into the United States. Just for fun, if you want to laugh, then Clint sent in why some men have dogs and not wives. It's a pretty funny punchline down there at the bottom. Then this is just for fun section. People send in funny stuff. Simone, very active in the health and wellness. She has a lot of information. Sent in two groupings of information. That only one thing necessary for the triumph of evil. So if you're into positive mental attitude and life mastery courses and things like that, Simone's the lady. She's the lady to talk to. Lots of information here on that. Then Comfort and Survival by Clint. He writes a lot of commentary in the survival section each week. And then this is what life is really like in a post-collapse society. This is important for did a little editing in here. This English is not this lady's first language. But good information on what happens after the collapse. And we saw that in Chile from previous years, and now what's going on in Venezuela. So preppers, you're going to want to look at this and plan accordingly. Then that's pretty much what I want to share with you guys for this week. Like I said, it's a pretty boring week. And this is going to continue through August. The update that I'm showing you right now is going to be like a carbon copy of what you hear next week and the next week. That's the way it is in the summer. And we'll see how everything shakes out with when are we going to get our next 7. Usually I wait, but this string of zeros for these 7 magnitude earthquakes is just getting too long. And usually I wait till we get the 7 and then count them up and do it. No, this is worthy already of red values. So that's my update report. Thank you guys very much for supporting the research. Get more information at terralo3.com, and I'll see you on the next Black Star update report.